What's up guys, this is Chris from SS9. I'm a guitar instructor here. On a previous lesson we went over the G major scale. We're going to talk about that again, but we're going to focus on the technique because I realize a lot of the time it's a little tough to play the scale and pick it, together at the same time. It's a little tricky. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. So if you don't remember the scale, it's going to sound like this. G major scale. So let's take a look at the right hand. A lot of the time when we pick, we like to, at least when we're first starting out, we like to pick it kind of like hovering our hand, right? It's important if you're using a pick, you're holding it properly. And so you want the pointy end facing down, right? And then you want your thumb covering the top, almost like a T, right? You kind of want your thumb facing horizontally and the pointy part facing down. And then you want to hold with your first finger on the first knuckle like this, right? It should be like that. We never want to hold it like this because then we don't really have control of our pick, right? So always like this, right? Like that, just like that. Cool, so let's get into the picking. So a lot of the time we like to hover our hands, right? And that can be tricky because we don't really know, we don't have any reference to where all the strings are, and we kind of have to be like looking back and forth and figuring out where the strings are. So something really important that you guys can start practicing on. I know it might be a little weird and tricky at first, but what you want to do is you want to use your extra fingers that you're not using and place them on the guitar. Either that or you can use your palm. So I know some people like to use their palm and put it on the bridge, but I prefer my fingers, right? And what that's going to do, it's going to give you like a little anchor point, and it's going to tell you, okay, well, your brain's going to be like, well, I can go move up here and I can touch that string and I can move down here, right? Instead of having to guess, right? So fingers here, picking over here, right? So practice, once you have the scale down, you want to practice picking without looking at your left hand, right? So we're going to go, you can down pick all of these. Right? Oops. And eventually you should be able to play it without even looking at either hand, like this. Like that. Now let's take a look at the left hand. A lot of the time, a lot of my students have trouble pressing on the strings. And at first, it might be a little tricky, our fingers aren't used to pressing the strings. So I always say, think of like you're pinching the guitar, right? So you're kind of doing like an OK sign. You're going to pinch, right? So you're going to put your first finger, let's do the 3rd fret of the small E string. We're going to put our finger there, and our thumb's going to be in the back, just like that, right? We never want to have our thumb out like this, and we never want to put our palm like that. So always like that. See, you can kind of see like the OK sign right there. Right? You should have some space right here. And what you want to do is you want to press, like pinch the guitar. Like you want to think of pressing the string through the neck of the guitar, right? You want to hear that. You never want to hear this. Right? None of that buzzing noises, right? Just like that. And then try using all different fingers, right? And so once you kind of got used to pressing the strings and getting a nice consistent sound, try playing the scale, right? Your pinky might be the last one that you might be able to get out, but your pinky's always the weakest one, but don't neglect it, right? So let's go through the scale one more time. Now, something you can practice, because I know it might be a little hectic with both hands, what you can practice at home with your right hand is just picking the strings. And try to hit them consistently every time.